What's up? What's up? Real MVPs, Ricky Widmer here, and welcome into another edition of MVP Sports Live. I am joined, as I always am, with my beautiful co-host, Dave Oster.
Hey, everybody.
Dave, how's your day been? Beautiful Monday. Didn't have to work today?
Did not have to work. Did not do a lick of work. I'll tell you what. Did a little laundry, watched a lot of YouTube, and felt pretty fucking lazy.
Dave's like, got my gin and juice with me. You were showing that off in the pre-show. You were showing off to me that the 50-50.
I'm just saying the ratio didn't come out the way I thought it would. It's very gin forward. That's all I'll say.
Very gin forward. But we got a jam-packed show. A lot of football today. Football games happened. College games happened. The Jets might have also done something that might have screwed them out of a certain someone that we're going to talk about. But before we get into everything, make sure to join the Discord, greatest community on the internet for MVP. Well, greatest community on the internet for everyone. Link down below in the description or exclamation Discord into Twitch chat gets you that link. If you want to support us, patreon.com/MVPvids is how you do that. Again, link down below on YouTube, exclamation Patreon and Twitch chat. For you guys who are always here, you guys know the deal. We're always on Twitch Monday through Friday, twitch.tv/MVPvids, and we're also on YouTube at MVP Sports as well. Dave, first thing we're jumping into, I am heated about this.
You're heated.
I have not calmed down since it happened yesterday.
All right. You know what? Do you want to just rant out the gates?
Yes. Can I rant out the gates?
Yeah.
And I am going to get vulgar here. So if you're one of those people that don't like the F word, you might not be in a situation where you want to listen to the F word. Then until Dave starts talking, calm it down because I'm going to be going crazy. How the fuck does Notre Dame deserve a spot in this goddamn playoff, Dave? How in God's name does a team get embarrassed? I watched that. We were playing WoW, and I was watching that Clemson-Notre Dame game. I thought it was going to be close. I saw the line going into that game at -10.5 for Clemson. I was like, dude, the last game without Trevor Lawrence was 47-40. I'll go like 52-47. I'll take Notre Dame plus 10.5 all day, Dave. All day. And after it happened, I'm like, okay, they lost. There was a lot of people that also were not happy with OSU's performance against Northwestern. But at the end of the day, I was like, okay, your top three is probably going to be Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State. They went undefeated. Well, they won their conference championships. Ohio State went undefeated, even though they only played 6 games. And I'm like, Texas A&M did what they were supposed to. Their only loss all year was to Alabama. They also beat Florida, who was in that SEC championship game, who played a hell of a game against Alabama. That was probably the game of the night because Clemson game was good, but they just kicked the shit out of Notre Dame. So if you like a good ass kicking, it was a good game. But if you liked a close game, then Alabama-Florida was your game. How does Notre Dame get in over that Aggies team, Dave? How do they get in? Because they're proven time and time again. You put them on a national stage, you put them in a primetime game, they ain't going to get it done. Like, they did not get it done against Clemson. Now we get to watch Alabama kick the ever-living shit out of them in the semifinal game. It's going to be fun to watch, but it's not going to be a good game.
Ricky, you remember on Friday when we talked about this?
You are very happy, shit-eating grin.
I can't not be because I talked about this and I was like, remember what we watched every single time Notre Dame gets put on the fucking national spotlight stage? Their opponents are bigger, stronger, faster. Yeah. Period. They have better level of recruits down there in the South. It just is what it is. They attract a better level of talent. Great story for Notre Dame. If they weren't in the ACC this year, they wouldn't even fucking been in the top 4. Yep. Wouldn't have deserved the shot. And had Trevor Lawrence not gotten put in the COVID protocol, they didn't even fucking stand a chance to be in this in the first place. They would have got their asses kicked game 1. It wouldn't even matter where we're at right now. But because we are where we are, I do agree with you. They are an absolute joke to be in this college playoff, and they did steal a spot from more deserving teams. Shit, the next 3 teams up all deserve it more than they do. Yeah. I don't give a shit about record. I give a shit about the quality of the team. And they are the odd man out by far. So I'm with you here. And I hope that Bama and Nick Saban don't take any fucking shot. Like, they just don't hold anything back. I want to see this game be like a 56-14. Like, I want this to be another national embarrassment on television for Notre Dame because that's what they deserve.
To me though, I am sitting here going, the college football this whole committee thing, this committee thing is not working.
16 teams, rookie. 16 teams.
I mean, not even that.
Give me upsets. Give me the opportunity for games that build up a storyline.
I saw
every year having Notre Dame, Clemson, Alabama, and why can't I think of the fourth team? There's a fourth one.
Ohio State, Clemson,
Ohio State.
Alabama.
Thank you. I literally couldn't think of Ohio State. Every year
they only played 6 games.
Right, it's hard to think of them because they didn't play anybody.
Yeah.
The point is, every year it seems like the same. 3 out of the 4 teams are pretty much the same. So what is the point of this? We're not seeing a competition. We're seeing the same fucking game year in and year out, and it's extremely frustrating on my end. I don't know about you, Rick, if you feel the same way that I do on this, but it feels like there is no point to watching the season because the end result is the same. At least in basketball, we get these heroic stories. College basketball is the March Madness fucking moments.
You're right.
We get to see those upsets. We get to see the brackets. We get to see the 16-1, the 15-2, all this wild shit happen, and it builds stories. It lets people get behind these small schools. I mean, the amount of moments that March Madness creates, it is something special, and whoever thought that up is a fucking genius.
Yeah.
College football, just bump it out a little bit. 16. I'm not asking for a miracle. You can play, hey, how about we cut down on the non-conference games by 1, and then we end the season a week shorter, and then you start the 16 bracket tournament because, hey, it'll work out. It'll work out. We still could get, 10 games in college. Well, no, it'd be more than 10. I don't know. Regular season games, we'll have to figure that part out. But the point is, 16-game tournament, make it happen. College football committee, you're a bunch of fucking jokes.
I've got you covered, Dave, because this isn't going to look the prettiest.
Well, you had a presentation last week, and I felt bad because I kind of was like, your 20 whatever team is kind of
no,
16 clean.
Yeah, then the 16 this year looks like this. So I came up with it yesterday, put it in the Discord because I was that angry about it, Dave.
I didn't. I was not in Discord yesterday. I was with my family a lot, so I appreciate you linking this for me.
So this is what you do. First off, in the first round alone, with a 16-team playoff this year, you're giving Coastal Carolina a shot. They're at 9. You're giving Cincinnati a shot. They're at 6. So at least you give this, even BYU at 13. You're giving them shots. Also, you're telling me BYU Notre Dame, that would be a good game. Even Coastal Carolina versus Oklahoma, that would be a good one. Cincy, Georgia, that might be a shit kicking by the Bulldogs. But other than Alabama, Louisiana, Lafayette, Texas A&M, Iowa State, good game. Clemson, Northwestern, probably is a shit kicking by Clemson, but Northwestern, hey, they hung with Ohio State. Maybe they hang with Clemson, probably not. Indy gets a shot against that Indy-Florida game. I would fucking watch that game in a heartbeat.
100%.
OSU, you get fucking the Ohio State Buckeyes against Mac Brown and the Tar Heels with their season this year. And then how you could do it is basically the first round is basically at the higher seed. So, for example, Louisiana Lafayette would go to Mobile, Alabama to play the Crimson Tide.
Okay.
Then from there on out, it's basically bowl games. You have 4 bowl games, 2 bowl games, and it's basically this year the championship would be the Rose Bowl. Fiesta Bowl and Orange Bowl would be your semifinals. And then your I'm going to go to the Discord because I actually did map this out in the Discord yesterday because I was this frantic about it.
You can tell how angry Ricky is by the amount of work he puts in to build a counter argument against it. So
this year it would be the championship game. You could play the Rose Bowl like it would be this year. Semis would be Orange Bowl, Fiesta Bowl. The quarterfinals would be the Outback Bowl, the Gator Bowl, the Sugar Bowl, the Citrus Bowl. And then it's I went back and I was like, okay, you could just have the first round be at the school of the at the stadium of the higher seed. Or if you wanted to make them bowl games, Peach Bowl, Texas Bowl, Cotton Bowl, Alamo Bowl, and then any other 4 bullshit bowls you want to throw in there just to put a name on it. This is doable. The only hiccup we have on a 16-game playoff season, Dave, is the season would, to me, have to start a week sooner, because in order to get if you want the championship game to still be around the middle of January,
right,
then you would have to have them start this weekend. The only problem with that is, for example, Florida and Indiana. Indiana had a bye week this week, basically. Florida did not. That's the unfair advantage. Yeah. You're not rewarding someone for making their champ game.
Yeah, and that's, I don't know, I don't feel terrible about that. But I think that's a fair assessment. I think this is a fair setup, and I think we get better quality football from it. Mm-hmm. And again, at the end of the day, all we're trying to do is find the best team. Yeah. And is there a shot to have some upsets happen on this path? I 100% think there is. I think that at least 6 teams here would be interesting teams or interesting games. Mm-hmm. So yeah, no, I'm all about it. I want to see this shit happen. And I think it's something that easily could be, it's a flip of a switch. Next year, guess what? We could just do it. It doesn't take 3 years to set up. They have all the conferences shit booked, but we can easily make this happen.
And the thing that Eric does throw out there is he says no California team in it.
The Pac-12 was.
Yeah, that's the reason. The only reason why there's not the California team here is because USC was in the top 16. They lost to Oregon. The committee put USC at 17, and then Oregon was at 25. So it would basically be the same thing.
We'll have Pac-12. It's just because of where we're at right now with the season. You can't really justify it. But next year, you'll see USC back there. You'll see teams available. And the automatic bid for a big conference winner is great and all, but no.
Yeah, I'm
against it.
And the one thing I did like is Texas A&M's coach basically took a shot at I think the one he took a shot at, he's taken a shot at Ohio State for playing only 6 games. Yeah. But also Dabo Swinney, biggest whiner in the world. Yep. That's number 1. I got to preface. Number 2, doesn't take the pandemic seriously, so I am against Dabo. But do you want to hear fucking ultimate pettiness from Dabo? Who is playing, and it's not what he said, Dave, it's what he did. Oh. So in the coaches poll, because the coaches still come up with their poll, do you know where he ranked Ohio State in his coaches poll? 11th. Because they only played 6 games. And those two teams are going to play each other.
That is delightful.
Here, I want to find
it's a lot of spite.
Mm-hmm. It's just to me, it's, I don't know. I think Texas A&M deserves it. I tweeted out and I said, Cincy, I'd be upset, but Cincy was never going to get in. Even undefeated, they were never going to get in, and it sucks. Great. Even though we
laid out 3 different situations on how they're not getting in, unfortunately.
Yeah, they just they would not have given the best opponent to Alabama. But if I'm Texas A&M, I'm beyond furious. Mainly because of the fact that I laid out. They lost to Alabama second week of the year, 52-28 or 24. What did they do that next week? They just beat Florida. They've beaten Florida this year. They beat LSU. Well, LSU wasn't as good this year. Auburn wasn't good. There's that, but it's you go ahead and you lose to Alabama, who was the best team in your conference, best team overall by the committee, and then you go ahead and beat Florida, who was the second best team in your conference. Where do those wins come for Notre Dame? They're not there. They beat a ranked UNC team that is nowhere near Florida. They beat Clemson without Trevor Lawrence, and then they lost to Clemson with Trevor Lawrence. Yeah. Which resume do you want? I'll take Texas A&M. I don't care if it's ACC versus or if it's SEC versus SEC. I'll take it.
I'm with you. I'm with you. And again, is that a problem even?
Yeah, a little bit.
Really, is it?
The only problem that it creates is when we had LSU Alabama in the playoff. It's the fact that the SEC is such a more it's the rematch, but the SEC is just a more competitive conference than anybody else. For example,
I remember years ago we talked about I would take the top 5 teams from the SEC versus like, the top, like the number 2 team from given year, maybe the Pac-12 or ACC. Like, it depends on the year, even the Big 12. Like, it depends on the year a lot, but I think a lot of the time we do understand that the SEC just has an overwhelming amount of talent, especially in the early 2010s.
Yeah.
I mean, those were just loaded, absolutely loaded teams.
Let's see. PFT team history. Because, like, the thing I was even going to throw out there is, for example, Brett Bielema, who just got hired by the Fighting Illini.
Did he?
Yeah.
Congrats.
I mean, it's whatever. Like, we'll see what happens.
Like,
I am at the point where it's like,
not upgrade. How do you feel? Just quick take.
Quick thought. I'm excited because yes, he built Wisconsin into a top 10 program. But at the same time, if you win the introductory press conference, I'm not about that now. I'm gonna wait to see what the product is on the field and what comes of it. Because I've been told lies. I've been force-fed shit and got excited about it.
Yes,
and then not seen wins. But like, you look at it over the college football playoff since it's been inducted, which has been this is the 6th year of the college football playoff. First off, what conference do you think has the most appearances in the playoff?
SEC.
SEC at 8. Who has the most wins in the playoff?
SEC.
SEC at 9. Conference with the most championships?
SEC.
SEC with 3. There are 2 teams that have the most playoff appearances.
Alabama.
Clemson. What 2 teams have the most wins in the playoff? Both at 6.
Alabama,
Clemson. Who have the most championships in the playoffs, Dave? Both of them at 2.
I would say it's Alabama,
Clemson. Like, is this doing any good? Like, 6 years, and it's just like, does this mean we're, like, yet again, we're picking the 2 best teams, so don't have a season, just have Alabama and Clemson play each other?
Well, it could be a yearly game, that would be fun. But, like, I think it's just part of the problem is that college football is so stagnant.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of, and again, these are apples and oranges, so take this as a poor analogy if you want to. But, like, college basketball gets in this vibe, and that's where I'm more familiar.
Yeah.
College basketball gets in this vibe where recruiting, you have the same blue bloods. You have the same top-tier schools who will always get the top-level talent, and it just seems like it's inevitable. But year over year, there's always a story that comes in that somehow, some way, somebody else can provide a really good challenge with upperclassmen. But because college basketball only requires 1 year of play before a player can go pro, it's much more volatile. Because college football is 3 years of play, you see these dynasties kind of build up, and especially with the coaching staff and the pedigree and the ability to turn any random guy on the fucking Alabama offensive line into a first, second, or third round pick. Like, there's no reason these kids should go to a Joe Schmo school. No offense to any lower tier schools, but if your ultimate goal is to be an NFL caliber player, you have to go to a school that dominates on a nationally televised program. And I feel like that has kind of funneled a lot of the top talent in the nation into these schools, and it shows on the level of the competition. Now, I'm not saying that Nick Saban is any less of a head coach. I'm saying that it's a lot different because his job is to coach the best college talent in America. Meanwhile, you may have other coaches doing more for their kids, but because they're in a lower rated program, they're not going to get the level of recruits. They're not going to get the level of talents coming in. They're never going to be on that national stage. And it's just like, it's tough to say that Alabama and Clemson don't deserve what they have, because obviously
they don't. Well, I should say they do, because they're good programs. It's just,
is there any way to avoid this end result that seems inevitable?
Yeah, it's like just going over the past, and yet again, this is the 6th year of it. Year 1 was Alabama, Oregon, Florida State, Ohio State. Then Clemson, Alabama, Michigan State, Oklahoma. Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, Washington. Clemson, Oklahoma, Georgia, Alabama. Alabama, Clemson, Notre Dame, Oklahoma. LSU, OSU, Clemson, Oklahoma. That was the only year Alabama missed the playoffs, and that was the year that fucking LSU won it.
And that was the year that Tua was injured, correct?
Yes, Tua got injured against I think it was Mississippi State that year, because that was before he got drafted this year. And then now it's Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, Notre Dame, to where it's like, by college football only selecting 4 teams, are we catering to dynasties? Where it's like, it's easy for an Alabama and a Clemson to make it every year because this formula literally plays right into the hands of a dynasty. To where it's like, like Alabama doesn't have to play anybody. They do. They'll play like a USC because they know they'll beat them. But like, they can even do that. Like, they can either play cupcakes early on and be fine, or hey, we'll actually play someone, and even if we lose, the SEC is so tough that we just win the SEC and we're in.
Yeah, it's an imbalance, and that's the problem. Like, you talk about Clemson and Alabama, you talk about, well, guess what? They've had dynasty of quarterback play. Like, Tua Tagovailoa has been, like, he had been the guy, basically, Jalen Hurts into Tua / Jalen Hurts again / Tua again, as their injuries happened / benching in the championship game. Like, you had a stable top-tier quarterback that is NFL caliber, and then you look at Clemson, you go Deshaun Watson into Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
Like, how the fuck are you supposed to compete with that? Like, I'm sorry. Some of this you do have to chalk up to just the fact that they have the best quarterback talent, and then they have the best coaching for that quarterback talent. And then, we also have the best defense and the best offensive lines and the best wide receiver. Like, college football's recruiting. It's like 80% recruiting, 20% coaching. If I'm being honest with you, that's how I feel about it.
Yeah. I mean,
it's 80-20 recruiting to coaching. That's what deserves credit for these championships. The kids are awesome, and I love the product. But you're right. It's boring as fuck, and we need to change up. Now, Mad Rogue brings up the one-and-done rule in college football.
Never will happen. I
don't think it's possible. I think the NFL loves the relationship. There's a much better hit rate by position because you have multiple years of scouting on them.
Not even that, Dave. The first year you put that into existence, I'm an 18-year-old kid. I go to college. I stay. I get drafted at 19. And then I have to go up against fucking late 20 to 30. Like, I'd get murdered. A 19-year-old quarterback would get murdered in the NFL.
No, he wouldn't. The problem is that to learn we'll just take quarterback because it is the most important position in football.
I mean, even a running back. Can you imagine if Jonathan Taylor came out at 19?
Running back is 100% the most easily translatable position from high school to college to professional. It is the easiest thing to
I bring up Jonathan Taylor.
Run forward, Ricky.
I mean, we saw forward. But how many running backs have we seen even struggle when coming out? Not a ton of them, but like
right away. If a running back, right away. You're like, that guy's got it or he doesn't. It's that easy. By the end of your rookie season, you're either going to be an NFL caliber player or you're not, and you're a supplementary, like, hey, running back by committee, kind of nice piece, but not really my bell cow. Like, think about it. Christian McCaffrey came in rookie year, stud. Ezekiel Elliott, stud. Nick Chubb, stud.
They were also coming, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, they came in after, yet again, like, Zeke would be an interesting one because I would have to look up pictures of this. Take a picture of Zeke in the college football playoff with the abs, and then Zeke after his rookie season.
Zeke?
Yeah, crop top Zeke compared to end of my first year in college. Those are two different Zekes.
Put the graph away.
I mean, I was going to bring something up before we went into the football playoff.
Matt Rowe was like, guys.
I put it up because I was going to make a point about it, but then we went into this.
Sorry.
I mean, we'll talk about this and I'll bring up my point.
I think that the one and done rule for college sports in general is a case-by-case basis. I think the NFL loves a free marketing. I'll take the Cowherd argument to it. The NFL loves a free build-a-star program that the college sports environment sets up for them. They can do all the scouting. They've got more than enough tape on the majority of these players. They get to see them play in pressure games, likely bowl games if they're good enough to be drafted. And they get to be nationally televised. So it's a ready-made, like, easy bake. Here you go. Hand off. Here's your star. Learning an offense takes a lot of time. Perfecting that, learning how to read defenses, all this stuff for a quarterback. Even on the other side of the ball, as a cornerback or a linebacker or a safety, and that's secondary, understanding plays, reading sideline to sideline, knowing how to run a defense. It takes time to do that. You're not likely to be successful as a 19 or 20-year-old going to the NFL. I don't think it's out of the question that will happen, but I do think it is extremely unlikely that we would see someone who is just not a supreme athlete thrive. I think wide receiver, defensive end, quarterback are positions where, yes, there are even running back. I will say, like those, the key positions of football, I think you could thrive at. But the ones where you have to think more, the ones where you have to build that muscle mass, like offensive line, you want your offensive line to be incredibly smart, strong, big, talented. It takes a lot of time to put on that kind of mass and know how to learn your scheme. So, like, I think it's position by position. You can't just say that, hey, if we do one and done, it's easier for players to go to the pros and it would shake up the college scene. I don't think that's the right answer.
It would impact the NFL in a way, too, to where it's like the NFL, would it change the product to where basically what we're seeing on college just becomes the NFL? Or would it be a, hey, we're going to actually, like the NFL is now doing more developing that these kids were doing in college, to where it's like, we're not seeing these rookies. We're not having the ones where it's like the rookie, like basically it's your rookie year in the NFL then is what, a redshirt year to learn things, catch up to the game sometimes, because like, I feel like the NFL, there's things in the NFL that just basketball doesn't have. It's easier in my mind, to make a transition from I'm an 18-year-old kid going to the NBA. Now, you're not going to be a superstar as an 18-year-old, 19-year-old, but to me, there's more of an opportunity. Maybe it's less people on the court to where it's like, hey, we're going to give you an opportunity, where in the NFL, it's like there's for quarterback, reading the defenses. Like I think of when Tua won the national championship. Were people saying that, oh, man, I wish he was in the draft this year because he would have been number one?
Yes.
What I heard was, man, I can't wait for Alabama next year and to see him play next year.
Like, I remember when I watched Trevor Lawrence.
That's what I was bringing up. Trevor Lawrence is the guys like Trevor Lawrence are the ones that people talk about like that, because Trevor Lawrence is such a high caliber prospect that people are comparing him to John L. Like today I heard Lombardi on Hamadan. Lombardi said Trevor Lawrence is the John Elway of a class, where he's a guy at number one you don't miss on. If you're going to miss on him, then you're missing out. Like that's how people are looking at Trevor Lawrence. Like he is the guy where it's like, I have to get this guy, because if I don't, I got to wait a couple years. He's the same way they look at like an Andrew Luck, where it's like, I got to have this guy.
Yeah. And I mean, like, you know what? And I'm going to be, as people may not like this, I think they should have a stipulation. I think the NFL should have a stipulation where the front offices can vote a player early eligibility. I think that if they gave the NFL ownership, or not ownership, but the GMs, the opportunity to say, hey, if that kid came out his sophomore year or that kid came out his freshman year, we would be 100% guaranteeing him being drafted in the 7th round.
Yeah,
I think if they give them a list, it had to be a limited list of like exception. Again, like you said, he is the exception to the rule. He is someone we have not seen in years. His level of talent, at least. I think that would be something where I would love to see that, because it's like some guys do great under additional development. I'm freaking out because I'm a Bears fan watching my quarterback develop in front of me live, because he only played 13 games in college, and he doesn't know how to fucking go from one progression to 2 to 3 as he reads across the field. And I'm frustrated. I'm mad. And I'm so irrational about this that I'm like, this 25-year-old shouldn't have a fucking job right now. And instead I should be like, oh, maybe let's put some context behind this and go, well, he only did start for 1 year in college. Like, he would have been better off going back, continuing to develop there. But because the NFL is what it is and the contracts are what they are, in the situation where if you're a quarterback and you're going to be graded first round, you would have to be extremely stupid or just different priorities, pass up on that amount of money. So, like, I think that if they had a early eligibility program where, I like that. Madrox says apply for.
Would never happen, though. You want to know why?
that?
For example, Trevor Lawrence. If the NFL goes, yeah, we're going to college football, would be like, fuck no, we're not giving up 2 years of money and marketing on this kid. College would.
Choice.
It's
not college's choice. It's the NFL's choice. College football doesn't say you have to play here for 3 years. The NFL says you have to be in college for X years. It's up to the NFL to decide how many years you spend in college football. It is not the NCAA's ruling.
I mean, the NCAA could easily change it and say, like, in order to get your scholarship, it's now turned into a contract situation where it's like you're at this school for 3 years. Like, that's the thing. I could just see college changing their rules because it's like, I ain't fucking giving up this kid's money for 3 years just because you want him in the NFL. Like, it's the relationship between the NFL and college would be
such a massive dick move by
the
NCAA.
move.
And I went, oh yeah, that's the NCAA though.
Yeah.
Like, would anyone be surprised if they handcuff these kids to a college and then, God forbid, the first career-altering injury happens and they're like, you just cost this guy hundreds of millions of dollars. Like, yeah, but we made national TV money, so suck it.
And plus, that's a situation that also comes into it. It's like, let's say it's a thing that the player could apply for.
Yeah.
If I may,
and the NFL teams have to agree to. It's like early application for draft eligibility would be given to X players.
Yeah.
And then the NFL GMs would have to go through and be like, who would I vote on this list who would be a guaranteed 1st through 7th round pick? 100% has to be taken in this draft, kind of a thing. And like, how do you hold them to that? It's very tough if you get down to the 6th round, 7th round, and there's still a lot of guys
forcing a team to be like, you got to draft this guy. Somebody has to take him.
Yep.
I mean, I don't think a one and done would work for college football. I don't think it would. I don't think we're ever going to see it. I don't think we should see it either, because the thing I like about college football is I like watching the kids mature. Where like basketball, yet again, basketball is different. Where like and it's okay that football and basketball are not the exact same. Where it's like basketball, we have new stars every year, except for like the kids like Gonzaga who usually stay for 3-4 years. Or like I think Buddy Hield was a upperclassman, or at least a sophomore. A senior. Was Blake a sophomore? Blake Griffin, he stayed for a sophomore year and then came out.
Russell Westbrook, I believe.
Westbrook, okay. But like we get some of those guys where the thing I like with football is you get to see them kind of, and plus there's some kids like a Justin Fields where they go to a situation where it's like, I want to go to Georgia because this is where I want to play. SEC is going to give me the best chance. Oh, you like this Jacob Eason kid now? Or you like this Fromm kid now? Fuck it, I'm going to go transfer here. Like, Trevor Lawrence he's the one I don't think we can use because he's the exception to every rule.
Well, that's the point. That's why I'm saying there should be an exception to the rule, because I think that if you look at the vast majority of college football, I agree with you. Players who are freshmen and sophomores, overwhelmingly 99 percentile, should not be eligible to come out. Yeah. But there is that 1% of players who are that talented, that good, and by them being forced to stay that extra year, are risking injury and are risking their future paycheck, and they have to go through. And if they're smart, they're insuring their body, basically.
Would that hurt? Let's say that rule was in effect for Trevor Lawrence, like that he could do that. And like it was pretty known that, hey, Trevor Lawrence is really good. He's going to do that after his year.
100%.
Here's the issue I have then. And yet again, do you think this will happen or not? Like Dabo Swinney, would he still go and say, you know what, I'm going to recruit this kid because even if it's 1 year, I get 1 year of this kid and we win? Or would he say, hey, football, and we hear this from a lot. You hear this from Aaron Rodgers on the Pat McAfee show all the time, where football's a team sport. It's not all about one guy. Or would Dabo go, yeah, he'd be great, but this kid would also be able to, not as superstar talent, but would still be able to work in this system. I'll take him because I'll have him for 3 years. And I won't have to be like, basically, like, how would that hurt recruiting to where it's like, would some of these programs say, I'm not all for you're either here and you're here for like the 3 years that you're supposed to be here, or I'm not going to take a risk on you because this ain't a revolving door. I want my quarterback to be here and develop here for the long-standing success.
I think it's the college head coach's job to bring in the best players available. I don't think that the longevity of their career in college has anything to do with it. I think every year you're there to fill out X number of scholarships. And if you can get the best player available, you should get the best player available. It doesn't matter if he's there for 4 days or 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the college year, your job has been to collect the best talent, get them under scholarship to your school, and develop them and play them and try to win the most games. Like, I think that the NBA / college basketball, you know, obviously there are coaches who are better at it and who are more recruiting savvy.
Mm-hmm.
And they haven't always turned into the best teams in college basketball. We see these heavy veteran teams, you know, and again, college basketball, apples, oranges. I'm just reminding people.
Yeah.
But we do see these teams that are vet heavy winning the tournament more often than not.
Mm-hmm.
They are laden with juniors and seniors. Yes, a rookie is an amazing talent who is probably a massive boost. You know, and some of these guys who are top 50 rated coming out of high school can change college, like for one season. So 100% it's worth it for them.
Yeah.
I think it would be foolish for them to be like, well, you're not in it for the long haul. No, that to me, that's halfway insulting almost, because it's like when you're asking the guy to come back for his senior year after he, puts up a fantastic season, and it's just like, yeah, no, that's unnecessary. Like, he did everything he could for that school. He gave them everything that he had to.
Let's see, 2020, 19, what, that would have been 2018? Would have been Trevor Lawrence's draft year if he came out freshman year. Because, like, the one thing I will say while I look this up, Madroke says, football is a team sport coming from a guy who carries his team every year. The more I hear Aaron Rodgers say it, though, it's not in the way that I feel like you're putting it. He says it in a way of like, yeah, if my fucking GM and shit actually helped me out, maybe I'd have more Super Bowls.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. I was
like, that's how I read into it when Aaron Rodgers says football is a team sport. Yeah, like, hey, if they would have done more for me instead of, drafted fucking Jordan Love last year, maybe we'd win more Super Bowls. But like, all right. Like, even for example, like Trevor Lawrence. I'm going to play this game, Dave. I know you're going to hate it, but I'm going to ask it. People were already saying, hey, is Trevor Lawrence going to pull the power move and go back because the Jets were going to be the number 1 pick? Cleveland Browns were the number 1 pick that year. Before Baker went there, Dave, nobody wanted to go to Cleveland. Cleveland is where quarterbacks went to die before Baker Mayfield.
I mean, it did.
Like,
and it was accurate.
Like, yet again, if I'm Trevor Lawrence, Cleveland, different than what we were seeing this year with the Jets, I'd be like, nah, I'd fucking stay for a second here. I ain't going to fucking Cleveland. Joakim Noah told me enough about Cleveland, Dave. There's nothing good in Cleveland.
That's such a bush league comment.
But there was Dave, years of track record of that's where quarterbacks go to die.
Ricky, that's like saying Theo Epstein should have never gone to the fucking Cubs because there's been 100 years of them being a sad sack, a bunch of fucking losers.
That's a bad example.
Why go there? Why fucking go to a team that's shit?
Because
for 100 years, why go there?
I see that's a bad example because of how Theo's the type of guy where I turned over Boston, I'm gonna turn around the Cubs. Trevor Lawrence may be that guy, but at the same time, like, it wasn't a for sure thing that Theo was gonna work. Like, he was taking a risk. Like, did we all think it was gonna work? Yeah, but at the same time, I was skeptical because the fucking Cubs are the Cubs, and I didn't think I'd ever see a World Series in my lifetime. But like, yet again, that's something too of
shut a team because they've been
would Trevor Lawrence pull the? We've seen the power move before. Fucking now, no, not once. We've seen it with why am I blanking out? Bo Jackson did it on the Tampa Bay Bucks. Said, I don't want to play for you. I'm going to go play baseball.
That's the modern era.
The John Elway did it with the the Colts, where he said, I'm not like, I'll go play with the Yankees if you're not going to trade me. And that's why he got traded to the Broncos. Like, players, the thing that I think is hypocritical.
Okay. So since basically Eli Manning and the Philip Rivers situation, where he went to a bigger team, he wanted to go to New York.
I'm not saying the decision always doesn't pan out, Dave, but like, here's the hypocrite, like the hypocrisy I see in this, where people who are against I feel like, and I'm going to relate to the NBA. If you're okay with the NBA and what we've seen with the players' movement to where it's like they get to go where they want and they have the power, then you shouldn't have a problem if a kid goes, I'm going to stay and I'm going to pull a power move because I don't want to go to that team.
I don't have a problem with them staying to avoid it. I have a problem with them getting drafted and demanding a trade. That's where I'm like.
No, I'm talking about beforehand. Like Cleveland's going to be the number 1 pick. I'm going to stay. I'm going to avoid that situation. Sure. I'm not talking about the trade me.
They can stay and they can risk their health and their career and millions and hundreds of millions of dollars to play one more year of college sports. That's fine. I wish entry on them? Hopefully not. But out of spite, would I at some point? Probably going to happen.
I'll throw this out because I heard Lombardi throw this out today. Yeah. If you're someone like Trevor Lawrence, since he's so good, he could just sit out and not play and just say, I'm going to hang out with, like the way Lombardi put it, I'm just going to hang out with my girlfriend for a year.
That's so ridiculous.
Like he could technically do that and people would still want to draft him number 1 next year. But we've spent a lot on this. Let's kind of move over to that draft situation. It did, but I liked
that bad boy in half.
I fucking loved it. But I mean, the draft did take a change though yesterday, Dave. The Jets won a game where they shouldn't have. I'll be honest, almost gave them a dry dude because Adam Gase does know they're trying to get a number 1 pick, right?
Adam Gase knows, and he knows he doesn't have a job next year. So he's like, right here, Jets fans, right fucking here. Just big old finger.
Here's the thing. I think that's what he might have been doing.
I think that's 100%.
So
he's coaching to win games, Ricky.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everyone who is saying that this win though is the worst thing for the Jets and that now they're not going to get Trevor Lawrence. Yeah, they're probably not going to get Trevor Lawrence unless like the Jaguars beat the Bears next week. Unless something like that happens.
There's a chance.
Here's why I don't think this is the end of the world for the Jets, Dave, because everyone now is talking about Justin Fields. He didn't look good in the Big Ten championship game. I know they were saying that he might have been playing with a sprained thumb, so that might have played into it. But fact is, he hasn't looked good in all 6 of his games this year. There were about 3 of them where he didn't look too hot this year, where Trevor Lawrence has looked great in almost fucking every game that he has played. So people are wondering, should the Jets pass on Justin Fields? Dave, I'm going to go ahead and answer this question and start the conversation. Yes, they should pass on Justin Fields. Here's why. Take offers. I am taking offers for trades because you are going to have teams. Carolina, if Justin Fields is on the board, yeah, they have Teddy, but they could trade up for him. Atlanta's going to need a quarterback. The Vikings at 14, the 49ers at 12, Detroit at 11, Bears at 16, Patriots at 15. That's at least 7 teams in the top 18 that are going to need quarterbacks. What I would do, and here's the thing, depending on how far you want to fall if you're the Jets, I would pass on Fields because you already have Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold is not hot garbage. You just need to pair him up with a better coach. What I would do, trade with a team, and I would still take a wide receiver. Like, let's say you trade with Atlanta. You're still in play for Jamar Chase because really the only team that would need him, he would go to probably Miami at 6. If you fall farther than that, Devonta Smith is not bad from Alabama. You could also take a Kyle Pitts if you wanted to, if it's either between Chase and Pitts. So, like, you can get a pass catcher. You have a second first-round pick at 26. You can even get an offensive tackle or an edge rusher, depending on if you want to bolster the defense or bolster your offense. And then with your second-round pick, Travis Etienne. So you're telling me that if the Jets passed on Fields and got either Pitts and Chase, or Pitts or Chase, pick your whichever one you want, an offensive tackle, maybe like a Dylan Radunz from North Dakota State would be there, and then Travis Etienne with their first 3 picks, would that not immediately make this Jets offense better with Sam Darnold? Fact that Gase would be gone and you're bringing in a coach to work with him?
It does make them better, Ricky, but the problem is that having the opportunity to coach a superstar quarterback rookie makes this job infinitely more interesting to available coaches. Like, if my name is Eric Bieniemy and I want to coach a team, and I'm being told that I get to go pick Trevor Lawrence with the first overall pick of the draft, and I get to work with the best young talent we've seen since John Elway. I think that's a very attractive job. Now, if you tell me I get to go just hard cut there, you go, okay, now how about this team where you can try to rehab Sam Darnold, who, he's still young. He's had a couple of rough years where he's not looked great, but he's had some moments that give you hope, and we're going to put some nice pieces around him. Which one would you rather have? Trevor fucking Lawrence.
No, Trevor Lawrence is, but they're not getting, that's the problem.
Yeah.
Many people are now saying that, for example,
this has hurt their ability to get a top head coach. I think the best head coach available on the market in most people's minds was Bieniemy. Correct? Am I right?
A lot of people are throwing out, I can't think of his name, I got to pull it up, the defensive coordinator from Buffalo. A lot of people are now throwing him out there because of all the success we've seen from Buffalo. Today, obviously, I listened to Hammer Don today. And
I didn't get a chance to listen.
Yeah. And Lombardi even threw out his name, and he was like, the Jets, the one thing this has hurt is the Jets' chance to go, our job is most appealing. Because like you said, I don't get Trevor Lawrence. I don't want to go, well, fuck. I'd rather have Trevor Lawrence. Who knows? Maybe the Jaguars now help themselves.
Maybe the Bears for a coach decide to roll over.
I'll ask this: if you're the Bears at 14, and if Justin, let's say Lawrence is a Jacksonville Jaguar, Fields is on the market, would you want to trade up at 2 to get Fields, or would you say I'm going to roll the dice and I'll take either Lance, Wilson, or Trask, whichever one falls to me? If they do, because these quarterbacks may be rising, and we could see what we saw in 2018.
Are any of those quarterbacks better than Mitch Trubisky right now?
Yes.
I honestly have to ask.
Yes, they are.
Because Mitch has been out there slinging the rock the last couple weeks. I don't know if you've been watching, but you should have watched because we just kicked the shit out of you. And by kick the shit, I mean we escaped narrowly with a fluky victory.
Yeah.
And I fully acknowledge that was not a clean win at all.
And how I say 2018, Baker went 1, Sam Darnold went 3. Rosen
really, Matt Rogue?
What?
Sean McVay rehabbed Jared Goff. Now he's one of the biggest coaches in football. If you win, good things happen. Yeah, what did Jared Goff just fucking do? He just lost to the Jets.
I mean, the defense didn't play that much better. The defense didn't play that much better.
Jared Goff can't fucking play when a defense gives pressure. We watched it happen in Miami. We've watched it happen all season. He is a safe quarterback. He's not a good quarterback. He will not win you games. He just will try to not lose you games. Yeah. There's a clear distinction in the NFL between that caliber of player. And I think that's the big difference here when you're looking at a Trevor Lawrence who can win you games and someone who there are unknowns about, like that second tier, that Zach Wilson, that Kyle Trask. Kyle Trask looks like he could be special. He's got the size. He's got the throwing power.
I would like him over Mitch Trubisky.
Defense.
I would like him over Mitch.
I want to say I would too. But I don't know who our offensive coordinator will be next year. I don't know who our coach will be next year. And I don't want to do that to another fucking kid.
Hey, let's be honest. Bears won this week. Bears win 2 more weeks. If they win 1 more week, Dave, they maybe make a playoff because the Cardinals are losing. Matt Nagy might be your coach.
I know. And I'm not prepared for that world yet. The point is here, Justin Fields, I think I agree with you in the fact that the Jets should look to trade the pick. I think it's the worst kept secret in football is the immediate panic reaction of, fuck, we don't get Trevor Lawrence, to great, now is Justin Fields a better quarterback than Sam Darnold? I think, and I might be in the minority here, I think I would take Justin Fields. I think I would go with Justin Fields here as a shot in the dark and try to move Sam Darnold for a late 1 or a 2. I mean, I think you can get a 2 for Sam Darnold, no problem at this point, from one of those other teams because he's an established product, and I think that if you're not looking for that long-term development project like a Trey Lance, I think he's the next available quarterback. Like if you had to go, I would go Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, probably about down here, and then like Sam Darnold right underneath that, and then like a Trask, and then a Trey Lance. Like in order, that's how I kind of would do it. And I know there are other free agent quarterbacks out there who will be available for teams and other guys who are clearly on the block. But as far as QBs go, like in that mindset, like I think the Jets should consider trading the pick, but if an offer does not blow them away, heavily consider taking Justin Fields here.
I'm going to say no matter what, trade the pick.
Okay.
And the reason why I'm saying that is, let's say you don't want Fields, which right now I am not like, I don't know if Fields or Darnold should be the guy. There's going to be a lot of due diligence that needs to be done between now and the draft.
Absolutely.
But there's a part of me that goes, don't rule out keeping Darnold. Don't feel like you're handicapped into Justin Fields, because there are more question marks about him than Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence was the first sure pick. If I'm taking Fields, let's say I'm going with your thought, and it's like, I'm going to take Fields, number 2.
Yep.
First off, I'm keeping that very close to the chest. I ain't letting no one fucking know. Number 2, I am then, if the draft order stays like it is right now, I'm taking a page out of John Lynch's book with the 49ers. I'm calling up the Bengals at 2 or at 3, and I'm going, hey, man, we really like Penny Sewell, baby. We really like Penny Sewell. Like, Penny Sewell's our guy. We know you really like him. I wanted to call you to at least, give you a chance to get your guy. Because I know you want your guy, but, like, if we're stuck here, if this clock runs out, like, we'll fucking take him. Could you think the Jets...
Just really twist an arm on this one.
I would twist their arm. Like, the fucking Niners got a pick swap at 2-3.
Yep.
Basically a third round selection, a fourth round selection, and a third for the next year.
We have a bad GM. I understand. You don't have to rub it in my face every show.
I'm just saying, like, could the Jets pull off a trade with the Bengals?
Who's the better player now?
No.
Mitch Trubisky.
Yeah. But, like, I'm looking at it, could the Jets be able to pull off a move like that to where if I'm going to go Fields, I'm going to try to work a trade with the Bengals, get some of their picks, because then I'm just going to take Fields at 3 and I get more ammo later on.
I think the expectation is Fields goes 2 one way or the other. Whoever's at 2 is taking Fields in my mind.
So the Bengals would trade up for Fields?
No, I don't think the Bengals would trade up for Fields. I'm saying another team would trade. Like, if
so the Bengals would then trade that pick?
If the Bengals were if the Jets were shopping 2, I think the interest there would be for Fields, not for Penny Sewell. That's what I'm saying. I think that you can try to swindle the Bengals into the deal, but other teams will be like, yeah, no, I want number 2 so I can lock in Fields. Like, that's the right answer. But that's what other teams will try to do.
But here's the tricky thing you play if you're the Bengals then. I traded for the pick. Now I'm going to trade, let's say, with the Falcons and go back to 5. Well, if I'm the Jets at 3, if I traded back to 3 and Fields went at 2, I'd be like, well, fuck it, I'm taking Penny Sewell at 3. Then the Bengals get fucked out of Penny Sewell. Like, that's the guy the Bengals
do this. I'm saying the Jets are doing this. That's what I was saying. It was the number 2 pick will be used to take Fields. That's what I strongly feel. I feel that he is the guy teams want to secure at the top of that draft. Penny Sewell is very good. And I think he will have a great career. But I think the number 2 overall pick is going to be Justin Fields. What team takes him is the question. That's why I threw out your fucking Bengals conversation. I was like, great point. Don't want to have a Bears talk about how I got fucked over again.
But it's not even about the Bears. It's about if I'm the Jets, I'm going to get Fields no matter what. I don't care if I have to. If I don't care if I'm getting them at 3, if I can try to get more picks out of the Bengals.
They don't get him at 3 is my point. They have to take him at 2 because I think someone else would. I think that if you're trading back from 2, that every other team who wants the number 2 pick wants Justin Fields.
Yeah.
That's the only pick you go up for.
So then,
and I think the Bengals call their bluff on it.
Yeah, so then like I asked.
Then the Bengals could trade number 3. Let's take Penny Sewell at 2. Fucking do it. I dare you. Then guess what? The Bengals hold the power. They have Justin Fields on the board. Do you know how many teams want to trade for Justin Fields? You just said 7 teams.
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah, that's the better deal.
Yet again, like, I'm not saying it's a for sure they could do that, but like...
No,
I would try that, and then it's like if nothing worked,
scenarios, right? That's all we can do right now.
If the Bengals were like, nah, fuck off, like what you just said, if I'm the Jets, I just hang up the phone and go, all right, Justin Fields, call it in. Like, that's what I would do in that situation of like, all right, we tried, let's go with our guy. Like, that's just what it would turn into. I agree with you, though, that Justin Fields is being taken at 2. It's just who's going to do it. And if I'm the Jets, maybe at this point, maybe I'm leaning a little bit more, let me get more ammo down the road. Maybe I don't need a
They
quarterback
already
right
have.
now.
I think I heard from
They've got a ton of picks.
14 picks in the first 3 rounds.
They've got
for the next couple years.
they've got 2 seconds. They've got theirs and the Seahawks. They have 2 firsts, a second, 2 thirds, a fourth, 2 fifths, a sixth, and a seventh right now.
I think the number I heard was they had 14 picks 1 through 3 in the next 3 years. So instead of the 9 that normal teams would have, they have 14. I think that was from Dan Orlovsky.
Yeah, right now, Tankathon has them as 10 total picks in the draft.
Yeah, I'm saying the next 3 years.
Yeah, the next 3. They've got a ton of picks. Like, that's all they've done.
3 years, rounds 1 through 3 is what I'm saying. They have 14 picks, which is a lot of capital. So, I completely am on the side of you have to take a quarterback here, move on from Sam Darnold, which leads into our comment section. Mad Rogue saying, if I'm the Bears, do I trade for Sam Darnold? No, because I don't know if he's any better than Mitch Trubisky. And that's a blatant, I don't know if that should be taken as an insult.
I think he is.
But I don't think that here's the problem. He may be better than Mitch Trubisky, but can we do better with him than what we've done with Mitch Trubisky? And that's the problem. The limitations of our offensive scheme, our system, and our personnel together. Is it worth going after a high draft capital pick of trading a first-round pick or a second-round pick for Sam Darnold at this point in time? I don't know. I don't know that we get that much better by doing that. Second question that I think we should address, 49ers, should they move up because of their capital? Like, they have a cap situation, obviously, from Eric in the comment section. Ricky, what do you think? I'm leaning 49ers to free agency. Obviously, cutting Jimmy G.
Yeah.
Only taking a couple million in loss there, not taking the big hit. It feels like they're a team who has to win now. Do you think they go for a young quarterback, or do you think that they take a shot in the draft?
I don't see them. I don't see them trading up for 2. I feel like right now, because of what we saw from Fields this week, there's going to be a lot of question about Fields, to where it's like, who's going to want to trade up for him? Because with them at 12, Wilson could be in play, Trask can be in play, hell, even Matt Jones can be in play. Because the one thing I did want to quickly mention about him, love this line from the SEC championship game. They said that Alabama, the entire offense, took it personally when people called Matt Jones a game manager.
Ooh.
And they asked him, they're like, well, does it upset you like it upsets the rest of your offense? He goes, now I'll think and dunk my way into a win. He goes, I'll game manage my way into short passes in order to win a game. Like, it's got no problem with me. I'll be a game manager if I win. Fucking love that. I love that answer. The Niners, I don't know if I want to trade up for 2 because, like you said, I need my assets. I need them. I need my assets because I don't want to, and we don't even know if Justin Fields will be the guy to be able to lead a team like the Niners to a playoff year 1. He's not Trevor Lawrence. He's clearly not Trevor Lawrence.
He's not Trevor Lawrence, but I do think he's better than maybe what they got.
Yeah, no, he'd be better than what he got. It's just, will the price match the reward?
Right.
Kind of situation.
Yeah.
Do you have any final thoughts on this before we move on?
I think we covered all the thoughts. Every one of them.
Before we move on into the NFL games that happened, Dave, we got Wet Boys. We got the Dance to Do, the Saggiest Jews, the Voice of Men. Yeah, it's going to be one of those shows. College football took a little bit of a doozy today. Sometimes you have a long show. These are the players of the game, and also sometimes the mistiest of misses. Players of the game from the day before. How we do it is Dave gets a Wet Boy, I get a Wet Boy, and then the patrons at patreon.com/MVPvids get to vote as well. Dave, I'm going to go right into you. Who's your Wet Boy? December 21st, 2020.
Well, this draft has already been dubbed this draft because of all the players with the same name. And we're going to credit Jalen Rose for this one. So in honor of that, I'm going to take Jalen Suggs for my Wet Boy of the weekend. He had a phenomenal shooting performance over the weekend. He has been really, really good. And I think there's a lot of people out there who are like, okay, so he's got on the offense end. As you can see there, 27, 7, and 4. He also had 3 steals, 1 block. He looks like a two-way guard with incredible upside, huge potential, great shooter, good defender. A lot of people are trying to stir the pot here, Ricky, and argue with what it says right here on my wall.
Point to the board, Dave. Point to the board. Who's the number 1 pick?
Cade Cunningham.
Cade Cunningham.
And a lot of people are like,
But that Jalen Suggs, maybe he should go number 1. You ever think of that?
Oh man,
you ever think of Jalen Suggs going number 1?
Just like last year, fucking old RJ Barrett, or not last year, 2 years ago, was it the old RJ Barrett should go number 1 over Zion? Oh, we're gonna try to shake it up, or like the DeAndre Ayton. Oh, Luka should
have just last year.
Was it?
That's how long this year's been.
No, this past draft we already had.
John Morant was the rookie of the year.
No, I'm saying like draft class when he was in, because we just had the 2020 draft. That was the 2019 draft. Yeah.
No, that was okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. This year was the one that just happened in my mind. Is the completed season.
Yeah.
Yes.
But like, or is this the situation of DeAndre? Is this situation DeAndre and Luka Doncic?
No, because that was just people being racist.
Well, I mean.
It really was.
Was it more so, too, of like Phoenix, Ayton, Arizona, Phoenix, that connection?
That's the easy excuse for people. But they were like, hey, look at that pudgy white kid in Europe play basketball. He's not fast enough to play basketball in the NBA.
Point is, we always have this question of like the number 1 pick. It's always like, oh, man, this guy, that where some people get bored of it and go, hey, how about that guy? I'm trying to start a conversation here.
It's Ben Simmons here. Can we that's the better comp. It's the Ben Simmons here. That is the answer.
The Ben Simmons or the Lonzo Ball Fultz year?
No, because Ben Simmons was the guy coming out of high school. Ben Simmons was the guy in college. He never did anything special in college. He just existed. And people are like, no, that kid's the number 1 pick. He may not look exciting, but he does everything you want him to do, minus shoot the ball. He's going to be the biggest shit you've ever seen. Like You're he's
right.
top talent.
So it was him and Brandon Ingram.
Close. Yeah. And we tried to make the argument for Brandon Ingram. But that was even a stretch. And it was like, yeah, Brandon Ingram's cool and all. And if he fills out, like he's like KD Light. And guess what? He's filling out a little bit. And he's like KD Light. And it still would be Ben Simmons number 1 overall in that class.
Because the last time I remember us having an actual debate, and it was more Sean and I, because you were on the side of Sean, was the Markelle Fultz Lonzo Ball discussion.
Yeah.
Of who should have been number 1.
Markelle Fultz was by far the best college player.
Yeah, but and then obviously Jason Tatum proving us all wrong. That maybe it should have been Jason Tatum at number 1, and not Markelle.
Maybe Bam.
For my wet boy, Dave, I'm gonna go. The next 2 are college football wet boys. Patrons went college football with me. Yep. I actually have 2 cards, so I'm doing something different for running backs, Dave. More so because you've complained about it, and this guy 1 card just doesn't do him enough. Najee Harris. And the reason why is you look at his rushing stats, you go, okay, that's kind of good. 31 carries, 178 yards, 2 touchdowns. He played pretty well. But that doesn't tell the full tape of his story, Dave. That was his receiving. That
was his rushing.
That was his rushing. These are his receiving yards. 3 touchdowns through the air, added a total of 5 on the day. Didn't have a bunch of yards through the air, but on 5 receptions to average
highly
13.
Controversial here.
13.
Highly controversial. The first time 2-card wet boy.
I mean, hey, for running backs, I'm okay with doing it. Like I know this is something. This is something that you have also said, and it's like, you know what? I thought about it today. I'm like, Dave is right. We'll change it. We'll kind of switch it. We're developing. We're evolving, Dave. I mean, we could have done it for Suggs and the steals, the 3 steals that didn't make the card. And 1 more block. But I mean, yeah, like Najee Harris had himself a freaking game. Like he had 5 touchdowns. Mac Jones had 5 touchdowns. Alabama dominated that game, even though it was a close one. And then, Dave, the patrons go on the other side. The best game of the week, Kyle Trask, or should I say, the next quarterback of the Chicago Bears, Kyle Trask. Because Florida quarterback and Bears quarterback. But yeah, he had himself a game too, 400 yards. Him and Mac Jones, both the quarterbacks in the game, set the record for most passing yards in a SEC championship game. Mac Jones will be remembered for it, though, because he had 10 more yards than Trask did. But yeah, Trask's 3 touchdowns in that game. They wouldn't have been in that game without him. Having a weapon like Kyle Pitts helps as well. And it was a great week for college football, minus Notre Dame getting into the college football playoff. But Dave, there were NFL games that happened this week.
There were a lot of them.
There were a lot of them. Let's start with Saturday first. The first game we saw.
First, I think you should just recap. How did the weekend go for our betting friends?
For our betting friends?
Well, I mean, for those of us who, picked games.
Okay. We went, I think you are, if the Steelers win tonight, you will be 13-3 again. Yeah, 13-3 if the Steelers win tonight. And if the Steelers win, I will be 12-4.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty good this
12-4 Steelers. Right now I'm sitting 11-4. You're sitting, 12-3. So depending on how the Steeler game goes, we either gain a win or we gain a loss, Dave. Because we both picked the Steelers tonight.
Thank you, John Madden. A very straightforward stat. Well, we're both sitting here, and if we gain a win, if they win, we gain a win.
Hell yeah.
If we lose, we gain a lose.
Boom! That's how it's done.
Point is, we done good again.
Dave's like, ever since that comment that says we can't pick games.
I just have to rub it in their faces. It's not my fault. It's the commenters' fault.
Dave's like, I got it. Like, this is just one door. It's like, I'm right, you're wrong.
Exactly. I want to share how right we are, and that our picks are very good and of a high caliber.
But Dave,
we outpick NFL's. I'm just saying, the NFL staff on network, great and all, but we have a better record.
We do. We pick the games better than they do. I mean, speaking of the NFL staff, Michael Irvin, I don't need Champ the emotional support dog. I just pick the games correctly, my guy. I don't need Champ. I don't need to come out in a fucking dog suit either. Although it's fucking great when Mooch did that a couple weeks ago. But Dave, we had 2 Saturday games. First one, Bills getting the win. Josh Allen looking good. Bills, congratulations on the division win. First time in fucking forever that a team not named the Patriots are AFC East champs.
Congratulations. You deserve it. Josh Allen, huge game. Bills defense, great performance. No questions all around. Stephon Diggs, game changer for the whole season, actually. Season changer. Great trade.
Question I want to ask you. We were going to talk about this last week, but we didn't. A lot of people are questioning the Chiefs. We'll get into them later on. Your percentage, your odds that the Bills make the Super Bowl out of the AFC. Are they the team? To me, they look like the team that if anyone's going to beat the Chiefs, it's the Bills. It ain't the Titans. It ain't the Ravens. It's the Buffalo Bills if anyone's going to do it.
I agree with you. I would still put only about 15% because the Chiefs are that good.
Okay.
The Chiefs are just dumb. Like it's not fair. And it might be mean, but like I know people say any given Sunday, and obviously the Chiefs have lost a game this year.
Yep.
But it sure feels like when the Chiefs want to win a game, if they can put together a couple quarters, you're fucked.
I mean, also we'll get into it. The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, also high ankle sprain, so we'll see if he's back for the playoffs. The other Saturday game though, Packers beat the Panthers 24-16. Aaron Rodgers had an okay game. He rushed for a touchdown, threw a touchdown. Could have got me more fantasy points. Which, by the way, did you see the power move that Sean did?
No.
So we ended going into the Sunday night game 93-91 with him winning by 2. So instead of playing his defense and Nick Chubb, he benched them both. So, and I texted him. I texted him yesterday, and I said, was going to congratulate you on the win, but I don't know how I feel after your power move. That was a power move, by the way, of benching Chubb and Browns if you deserve it. And he said, I stopped the count. This isn't the election. I got 270.
Dang.
Which then I had to say I love you, Sean, because
that is definitely one of those moments.
That is just Sean. But Aaron Rodgers didn't do enough to get me the win, but he did enough to give the Packers the win. You know what I love the most about Aaron Rodgers? In the post-game interview, shitting on his team, where it's basically like the whole thing of like, yeah, it's great we got the win today, but in second half we didn't play good offense, and if we're gonna win a Super Bowl, we're gonna beat better teams. We can't play like this. I fucking love that. I love that. Throw the team under the bus. We didn't play well enough. We should have beat these guys by more than the 8 points that we won by.
They let up. Okay, this was a game that was over early, and they were just like, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but the Packers clinched the 2 divisions clinched on Saturday in the East and the North. Dave, Tom Brady. You know what Tom Brady loves to do, by the way? This is the first game on Saturday. Not only, he likes to give them leads so that he can take it back later. Yeah. Also, a good point that someone made on Twitter, whenever you see Tom Brady losing and he sits on the bench and he's got his head down, just give up because he's coming back and winning that game. Like they showed one of him in a Patriots uniform doing that, and then the game from this Sunday. Are the Bucks for real? Like we've been asking that every week. Like, are they for real?
Nope.
Okay.
Again, they were good in one half of the game, but they still are not great. Here's the thing: they haven't hit on all cylinders once this year.
Mm-hmm.
Like they have not had a complete game. I have not seen their offense and defense work at the same time. So, could they be great? Yes. Are they great right now? No. They got lucky that they were playing up against the team that literally is known for giving up leads and blowing games.
Right now, they would play the Seattle Seahawks in the first game.
I don't know how that game would work out. I honestly do not know without. Couldn't tell you. Couldn't make that pick. The point is, Falcons give up games. Mm-hmm. This is not a shocker. They should have won this game.
Yeah,
it's more of a like, wow, I can't believe they got down by so much and they dug such a deep hole in the first half.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the Bucks. The one thing I look at for the Bucks is like I saw it yet again. Sean on Twitter today. Love you, Sean. Someone was like, "How are all the people who said Brady was going to make the Super Bowl? How you feeling now?" And he goes, "Give it time. Give it time. They'll cook." I can't wait to see if this Bucks team just in the playoffs is just gonna. Are they just gonna turn a cylinder, or are they just gonna stay lukewarm and kind of like stumble their way into a playoff? Because I'm sorry, if it's Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, like that's the team I think is going to the Super Bowl out of the NFC.
Yeah, it does seem like they are the best team. And just imagine if they had added a weapon with that pick at the top of the draft instead of Jordan Love, who's just rocking the bench.
Yeah, and not a fucking quarterback. 49ers Cowboys, Dave. Weird ending. Ended on an onside kick. Recovery for a touchdown. You had Pollard had 2 touchdowns in this game for the Cowboys. Andy Dalton also had 2 touchdowns. I feel like an idiot, Dave. I feel like a complete idiot. I was going to pick the Cowboys. I said it on Friday's show, but then I'm like, I listened to Hammer Don, and they were so favorable in the line. Today I was literally shouting at Pat McAfee through my computer screen of like, how could I listen to you? Like the stereotypical like fan of like, you dumb idiot. I listened to you. I had the answer all along. But yeah, Cowboys win 41-33. Does this game matter? Not really. I guess in draft it does because the one team gets a win, but like a bad team beat a bad team.
Correct.
Should have picked the Cowboys. That's
probably should have picked the Cowboys. Yeah, that's all I gotta say. It wasn't a thrilling game until until like literally the end of the game.
Yeah. Talking about wet boy snubs though, Dave. Lions, Titans, Tannehill 5 touchdowns. Like the question I have for this one, 46-25 Titans is
Ricky. There was a moment in that game. If anybody's the wet boy, Derrick Henry.
Yeah, Derrick Henry with another stiff arm. What was that over Myers, where he just put another man in the ground?
Yeah,
that just seems to be what he does.
That's his go-to move.
I can't help but look at this game and go, what I expected from the Lions, Titans for real. Because to me, it's like the Titans coming up to the last 2 weeks.
Yep.
They were very iffy to where it was like they had a stretch where it's like they lost the game to the Steelers. Let's see, it was the Steelers lost. They lost to the Steelers. They lost to the Bengals. They played the Bears close. Then the Colts beat them. They played the Ravens tough to where it's like, I was always like, where's that dominating win?
Right.
This is it. This was the dominating win. Coming off of 2 dominating wins because they did the same to Jacksonville last week.
No, I agree. I mean, it was just, it was a really well played out game. Credit to the Titans for just, honestly, like all phases of the game just being so much better. It felt overwhelming, you know?
Next week could be a Super Bowl. Could be. Not in my mind, but we got Titans Packers this upcoming week. Like that could be. I already said one of the teams that I think is making the Super Bowl from the NFC. The Titans make it this upcoming week could be a Super Bowl prediction. But like that's the thing. The Titans in their next 2, have the Packers this week, and then they played the Colts twice. Oh, the Texans. They should easily beat the Texans.
Should
beat the Texans, maybe lose to the Packers, which if they split puts them at 11-5 on the year. So 11-5, because I don't see them losing both games.
Probably
I don't see
not.
them losing to the Texans. Speaking of Texans, though, they lose in a close game to the Colts.
Shocked.
All right, is that sarcasm, Dave?
That's great. Sorry. Come on, we all fucking knew it. You knew it. I knew. We all knew it.
Mm-hmm.
And again, like
happens the same way too. Colts recover a late fumble. Texans almost have the win. Nope, they lose to the Colts.
Almost have a win until they don't, because they're a bad team. That's exactly how bad teams work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not shocked.
Colts getting the win on that one. How about your boy Tua? Tua 22-12 over Bill Belichick.
That was an ugly game through and through. Tua with the running plays at the goal line, calling his own number. That was a little bit of a shocker to me. But all in all, I mean, they still got the dub, so I guess that's all that matters. But yeah, what do you think of Tua using his legs so much?
I like it. That's what made Tua so special in college.
Okay.
Like that he had that mobile aspect to him. Not that he was going to run all over you Lamar Jackson style, but like that is what works in the NFL. Quarterbacks that have legs. The thing that I'm most intrigued from this is, did you hear what Cam Newton said after the game?
No, what did Cam say?
Because the Patriots are now eliminated from playoff contention,
right,
which basically means his season is over. And Cam was asked about his future and said, I still have a lot of football left. To me, I looked at that and went, who's going to give you that chance?
That's a great question, because he has had a
rough year.
Disappointing might not be the right word, but not a great year. Yeah,
rough year.
A rough year. He's had a couple games where he looked like the old Cam.
Remember, I said we were going to see MVP Cam this year.
You did say that. What did I say about this Patriots team? Did I say they're going to be terrible?
No, I think middle of the road.
Yeah.
Are you talking record wise or just overall?
Just talent wise. I thought they were going to be bad.
Yeah. I know you were very high on this Dolphins team, so this win, that's why it's like this win might have felt good.
Yeah, it was a win-win, really, in my mind. Yeah, I'm all about it. Again, Patriots, we'll have to see. It's just, Bill Belichick's time. We'll see what he does. Will he be on a yacht for a draft? Will a dog make a pick?
Dude, his dog's got to make the picks, man.
How many more years does he have in him at the top of the game?
How old is he?
He looks old.
I know he looks old, Dave. Looks can be deceiving, though. Bill Belichick. He is 68.
Yeah.
Damn. Maybe 2 years at the most?
Maybe he retires at 70. Big old 7-0.
It depends. If they get Jimmy G and they sign him to like a 3-year deal, then I say 3 years. Minimum. Like, I don't know, man. Like, he seems like a guy that can still do it, though. Like, this Patriot team, he's not the problem. The problem was all the defensive guys that are missing at the beginning of the year, because they had so many people on defense say, yo, COVID, I ain't fucking playing.
Yeah.
And then Cam not being Cam and Stidham not being anything really special.
Yeah. Is it funny that the narrative during the offseason, the minute they signed Cam Newton, was like, Cam's going to be MVP, like you said. It was all this massive, like, Patriots rigged the game. Tom leaves town. They go ahead and replace him with a former MVP. And, like, this is just Bill Belichick masterminding moves. And it's like, no, this is just a fucking bad football team.
Yeah. Next game, though, Dave.
Who's old? Wait.
What?
Mad Rogue says Amazingly Bill's only the second oldest coach in the NFL. Who is the oldest head coach in the NFL?
It's not Andy Reid.
Who is older than Bill Belichick?
Here, let me see. Who's older than 70? Don't tell me, chat. Is it Mike McCarthy? No. Is it Vic Fangio?
No.
Is it Fangio? It's not Gruden. It's not Lynn.
No, who's the guy who's going to retire? Who's an interim head coach right now? Who's an interim head coach right now?
Oh, Romeo Crennel?
Romeo Crennel's got to be the oldest.
Is it Romeo?
Right? Mad Rogue, let us know.
Yeah, it's got to be Romeo Crennel.
Pete Carroll? Pete Carroll looks like he's like 55 out there, and I know he's not, but like he could be.
So Pete Carroll is 69. He's got 1 year on Bill.
Nice.
How old is Romeo Crennel? Romeo. 73. Yeah, Romeo Crennel's the oldest.
Romeo Crennel is the oldest head coach.
Is he right now the interim? Yeah, he is. So, yeah, he's the oldest head coach.
Okay, Dave got some football knowledge still.
73 years old. But yeah, fucking Pete Carroll is older than Bill Belichick. I'll give you that.
But yeah.
That's another thing, too. Some people forget that Bill O'Brien was fired. But
Billy O.B.
The next game, Dave.
Yep.
I'll let you have your soapbox. Take it away. What? I was expecting it twice this year. I guess it only happened once this year. Bears did beat the Vikings 33-27.
Okay. So what I'd like to say about this game is that it's great to win as a Bears fan, to crush the hopes and dreams of every single Viking fan out there. Feels good.
But you're welcome.
But this is exactly what I thought was going to happen. Mitch Trubisky looks good enough. Mm-hmm. He does make a late mistake, not out of character for him. Basically, end zone play. We really try to play a spread, like little grouping out there, send him out. But he threw it right between Robinson and Jimmy Graham. Just bad pick, bad play. Really shouldn't have made that mistake. But didn't cost us at the end, so I guess I'll take it. It's just, man, our defense they're just, when the time calls, they can absolutely bring it. And that's what feels great about this game.
I mean,
get the run game going. That feels good.
The only thing I was thinking about this is, first off, well, it sucks. Season's over for the Vikings because
it sure as fuck
looks like we're not making the playoffs. The other thing, it brought a smile to my face.
Really?
Because, it now starts the conversation of, we talked about, are the Bears going to clean house? Are they going to clean house? And now it's like, the Bears could make a playoff run.
No, we should still clean house.
The Bears could, Matt Nagy could save his job. Ryan Pace can save his job.
We already fired a winning head coach before. We will do it again.
That was a winning head coach, but he missed the playoffs, Dave. That's the thing. Matter. If Matt Nagy makes the playoffs, you can't fire him when he made the playoffs.
Yeah, we can.
But will the McCaskies do it? Or will they say, well, we made the playoffs?
Here's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
If we do too well, will we re-sign Mitch? Every Bears fan wants to know that answer, and there isn't one yet. That's the problem. That is the biggest problem that has come from the last 3 weeks, is Mitch Trubisky's play.
Will you re-sign
Because
Mitch?
He's been playing too well.
Yeah.
We and Mitch just suck, and I told you what was going to happen. He was going to be good, he was going to suck, and then he's going to be good again at the end of the year to give you that little bit of hope. And then guess what? What do? You're stuck in position. I don't know. Is that the new Mitch? Is that who Mitch is supposed to be?
Well,
year-end Mitch? Is that best Mitch?
Even this upcoming week is going to be an interesting game because
could win, could lose.
You either got two things that are going to happen. Either Bears fans are going to be upset because Mitch is going to have a good game against Jacksonville and show some more hope, or Jacksonville fans are going to get mad because their team's going to play well, they're going to win, and then the Jets are going to be right back up into the top spot.
You're 100% right, and I don't know the answer.
Next week's game, Bears-Jags, is going to be infuriating for both franchises.
Yeah.
Somebody is getting angry. Seahawks and Washington football team. This one ended 2015 in favor of Seattle. However, Seattle's not the one I want to question here, Dave. It is the Washington football team because Dwayne Haskins was the quarterback. Alex Smith is not. If Dwayne Haskins is the guy, I have the feeling that the only reason they are still in the playoff is because the Giants had to play the Browns.
Well,
if the Giants didn't have to play the Browns, the Giants would then have a win over basically they'd be in the wild card spot because they wouldn't be 6-5 or 6-8 like the football team is. Is Dwayne Haskins going to bring Washington out of the playoffs with poor play?
Yeah.
Is this just something we can't wait for happen?
Yes. And again, he only got to start because of Alex Smith's health.
Mm-hmm.
This was not a choice that was made, in a bubble. It was Alex Smith was not healthy enough to start this game.
Mm-hmm.
Dwayne Haskins sucks bad enough that they could lose their playoff hopes. I 100% say yes.
Because here's the thing, I will say this.
Yeah. Sure.
The Washington football team this week has who did they have? I just fucking looked it up too. because I was like, oh, I'm going to look for the Giants too. So Washington this week has the Panthers at home, Ron Rivera's revenge game. And then they have Jalen Hurts and the Eagles week 17 on the road.
Like, should the Washington football team be favored in any of these? Maybe not, but they're both winnable games. I think these are equal level competition. I think these are two teams who are on the same exact point in time. Now, Washington football team's got that crazy good defense, but Carolina's got that mixed attack.
Giants though, Giants have the Ravens, which that's a loss.
Oh, that's a loss.
And then the rule of Dallas, New York, Dave. Dallas beat New York early in the year, so the Giants have to split. Like, that's just the rule of the Cowboys-Giants.
That's true.
So, like, Giants can go 1-1. Washington football team, if Haskins starts, what, 0-2? 0-2? Or is it enough for, is like this week for Washington?
I'd pick 0-2.
The only thing for me is that Panther game. Are the football team going to have a win one for the Gipper type of moment?
Is Alex Smith healthy?
Let's say he's not. Let's say Haskins is playing.
Then no. If Dwayne Haskins is your quarterback for the next 2 games, then no. They're not winning either one of those games.
Oh, shit.
Chase Young can't pick up the ball and go into the end zone every single play, unfortunately.
Wait a second, Dave. I think I got it. Wait, I got to look at a record here.
No, the Cowboys not making the playoffs.
Can Jalen Hurts get the Eagles into the playoffs?
Oh, God.
What would need to happen for this?
No, it's not possible.
What would need... Oh, it's possible, Dave. What would need to happen is the football team would have to lose both of its games. So if they lose both of their next 2, the football team goes to 6-10. If the Giants lose their next 2 games, they will go to 5-11. Right now, the Philadelphia Eagles are 4-9-1. If they beat Dallas and then beat Washington, they can go to 6-9-1, get in by a half game. Jalen Hurts could be in the playoffs.
No.
Does that Washington Eagle game get flexed to Sunday night if it's for the division? Is that our primetime matchup of Haskins versus Jalen Hurts in primetime on Sunday night?
So dumb.
Dave's
yes,
like,
it would get flexed.
Dave's like,
you're right.
Please don't speak that into existence.
Please move on, though.
Jacksonville, Baltimore. This is one easy to me. Jacksonville was a bad team. The Ravens, a good team.
Very much so. Just not close. Wish J.K. Dobbins got more touches.
What, for your fantasy team? Did you have him in?
Yeah.
Okay.
I still lost, but it doesn't matter.
Dave, how bad are the Rams? Should the Rams quit the NFL? Should they be like, all right, guys, we're done this year?
I mean, they did give up the
loss to the Jets.
It's very tough. It's very tough to make an argument for the Rams being a good playoff team.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. No. Can't do it. Won't do it.
Here's the question I have. Yeah. So Sean McVay apparently called Adam Gase midweek before the game and told him that he's surprised that the Jets that they've played as well as they have this year, and that Gase should be proud of himself. A lot of people are looking at it going, GMs are saying, yeah, I would have done that after the game. Basically today is when they would have done it. And there are some people going, did Adam Gase basically Michael Jordan and go, and that's when I took this shit personally. And then that's why they won, because Adam Gase personally was like, yo, bro, you're not going to disrespect me. You should feel good with how I'm surprised with how good your team's been playing. And I'm fucking 0 wins on the year. No, go fuck yourself. Was it that kind of a thing? I would love if it was.
Now that I hear that, yes, it does feel that way.
I would love if that was the case.
This was perhaps the best coaching job done by Adam Gase in years.
Mm-hmm. I mean, hey, you guys want the number 1 pick. No, we're going to fuck you out of that.
He doesn't have a job next year.
No, he's not. Do you
Sam
think
Darnold knows that if he loses, he doesn't have a job starting quarterback next year? Both these guys had something to play for, so I want to give credit to those 2 guys for balling out and playing well enough to win a game.
Yeah. The next one, Eagles, Cardinals. This was one where it's so from what I heard, because this is one of the ones I did not catch, Kyler Murray I'm getting this from Philly Sean.
Sure.
Kyler Murray didn't look great. Although you look at his stats, 400 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 INT. Jalen Hurts near similar. 330, 3 touchdowns, 0 INTs.
Turnovers,
though, were a big thing. Whereas the fumbles, Murray had 2 fumbles, lost one of them. Hurts had 3 fumbles, didn't lose any of them though. This is a big win for the Cardinals. They needed this because if they would have lost this game, we are talking today about how the Bears are possibly a playoff team. More so than we already are.
Yep.
Like the Bears and the Bears and the Cardinals would have been tied today.
Yep.
If the Cardinals would have lost.
The problem is, I love the Cardinals, but I understand how they are a terrible football team at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't matter which way I root for this, Ricky. I feel like I'm in a win-win because I enjoy watching Kyler Murray do what he does because he's a unique athlete who just has such a knack for making the right play sometimes.
Yeah.
Where it's like, man, you can be a superstar, but at the same time, he just makes some horrible decisions too. So like that Cardinals team is capped as far as how far they're going to be able to go this year.
Dave.
But Jalen Hurts, I mean, I feel like that team is rejuvenated by him just being out there. They play better as a team. I know it sounds dumb, but the whole team plays better when he's out there.
Dave, I will say this.
Yep.
Root for the Cardinals over the Bears. You want to know why?
Why?
As a Bears fan, you don't want to see Mitch and Matt Nagy get into the playoff, then have to play a hobbling Drew Brees, somehow beat Drew Brees, and then the fucking sky's the limit. Then it's like there's no way you're getting fired.
If we beat Drew Brees, guaranteed.
Then at that point, Nagy's never getting fired. Mitch is never leaving town. Like that would be the worst thing right now for the Bears.
It's hard to say that. No,
that would be the worst thing for the Bears, Dave. After we should clean house. We need to it would set the Bears back in a way of just miss the playoffs. Just miss the playoffs. It's okay. You can go 9-7 and miss the playoffs. It's fine.
You're probably right.
But I know Bears fans will be like, "Yeah, the playoffs. We want to be in there." Yeah, but it might not be the best thing for
you. In the playoffs.
It might not be the best thing for you, Dave. Last game before the Sunday night game, the Chiefs and the Saints. Drew Brees didn't look good. Looked like it hurt. Like it physically hurt him to make throws out there, and people are questioning the Chiefs. Like, people are saying, hey, you only won by 3 points. You should have kicked the shit out of this team. My question is, should people have a worry in the Chiefs because they are not blowing teams out like they did? Or a lot of games are closer than they may seem. 33-27 against the Tua Miami team. 22-16 against the Broncos. 27-24 against the Bucs. 35-31 Raiders. Is there even 33-31 Panthers? Should people have a concern for the Chiefs? Because I look at it and go, no, because Patty Mahomes can turn it on in a playoff situation.
Yeah, that's sort of the problem is that at the drop of a dime, they can just shove their offense down the field instantly. They had a weird amount of drops. Kind of an odd game for them. But again, it's like if they have 2 good quarters in the game, they win the game. I don't know any other team that has that ability where it's just like, oh, we can lose 2 quarters easily and still just beat you. That's just, we're cool with that. That's our game plan. Is just if we can play 2 quarters a game, we win most weeks. I think when the playoffs happen, hopefully you see a little more succinctness across the board as far as getting the offense, defense, and special teams all together on the same page. But to be honest, they're just so fucking good on offense. It's a joke. Kelsey is a goddamn monster. I think that he's coming after the crown. I think he might end up as the best tight end in the existence of the word tight end.
I could see it.
Yeah.
Who would be there right now? I know we talked about this, I think 2 weeks ago or something. Would it be Gronk? Over an Antonio Gates or a Tony Gonzo?
Yeah. Both those guys were before the time of the tight end being the past to God. Now, Jimmy Graham was really good. Antonio Gates, great athlete, fantastic player, good longevity. Tony Gonzalez, better player, better stats counting, I believe. More success, but it's just Gronk is the full package.
Was Shannon Sharp a tight end?
Shannon Sharp was he was a tight end. And again, he's probably top 7.
I get him and Sterling Sharp mixed up all the time.
Shannon Sharp was a tight end.
Because he was on that John Elway team.
He was. And he was on the Ravens team.
Yeah.
But Gronk's just been the greatest tight end ever. That's the problem. as good as everyone else has been, Gronk is just better.
But is he only
And
good
he
because
do
of
it all
Tom?
because he can block. He is so strong. He's so fast. He is so good with his hands. That it's just he's a weird amalgamation. But Travis Kelce is like just a better pass catcher.
Yeah.
Phrase pass catcher. I like that.
Pass catcher.
He can still block effectively,
Mm-hmm.
but Gronk's a better blocker.
Yeah.
The problem is Gronk's got the hardware. You know,
Mm-hmm.
he played with the GOAT.
Yeah.
And,
Well, and that's,
we will see. We will see what Patty Mahomes does for Travis Kelce's legacy.
Kelsey's got one.
He's got one. He's on his way to two.
Yeah.
And I don't think they plan on stop counting anytime soon.
Yeah. Like I said, the Chiefs to me, the only team I see beating them is Buffalo. If any team's going to beat them, Buffalo right now is on a tear. I think that yet again, Buffalo is a team I know history-wise does not have a good history in the playoffs or even in the Super Bowl. I think that if I had to put my Super Bowl bet right now, I'm putting Packers Chiefs or Packers Bills. Like those are the two that I'm sitting in Miami.
Great matchups. I don't have a ton of confidence in the Saints. I mean, this game was very much they were still missing Michael Thomas. Their defense played well enough to keep them in it, but like it's just Drew Brees' arm is like a fucking wet noodle right now. He needs time to build it back up again. And every time he gets hit, yikes.
The last game, Browns Giants. Baker beats bad teams, right?
It wasn't even a fucking game. Sorry, Colt McCoy.
I mean, I think there's more to talk about in this Monday night game right now, which 3:34 left in the first quarter, Dave.
Yep.
Bengals up 3-0 on the Steelers. Stop the count right now. Bengals win. Stop the count, Dave. Bengals are winning. They win. They win the game. Steelers lose.
That's exactly how that works.
But like, let's say the Bengals do win this game, though. Like, the Chiefs then, they play next week, they win, and then, okay, we're sitting Pat Mahomes and company week 17 because they had already locked up the number 1 overall bye.
Correct.
Any final thoughts, Dave, on this very long edition of MVP Sports Live?
Hell of a football weekend. Lots of great basketball. Welcome back, basketball tomorrow.
Yep.
About to be a top-to-bottom basketball show. We will have just a splash of football from this game that we're going to react to tomorrow, where Pittsburgh will either win and prove that they're not the worst team we've seen who's going to be a top tier in the playoffs, or they will lose and be the complete joke of the NFL, and we will ridicule them.
More of a joke, Steelers-Rams, if the Steelers lose tonight. I say Rams.
Rams.
Rams. You had one job. You have one job.
Sorry.
I also laugh at all the people who are like, I'm going to save my survivor pool pick until Rams Jets, because no way that's going to happen.
You pick against the Jets all season. Yeah, I get it, but that's embarrassing.
Not many teams go 0-16. Eventually, they were going to walk themselves into a win or stumble. Hell, they should have beat the Raiders. This should be their second win of the year.
Yeah,
Dave.
they should, but they didn't.
But Dave, that's going to do it. Remember, if you're not in the best community on the internet, join the Discord, link down below, !Discord in the Twitch chat, get you that. If you want to support us, patreon.com/MVPvids is how you go ahead and do that. Link down below, !Patreon into Twitch chat. We're live on Twitch every Monday through Friday, twitch.tv/MVPvids. We're also on YouTube at MVP Sports. Dave and I, like Dave alluded to, will be back with a lot more basketball tomorrow. A lot of extensions being thrown around today. Today was the deadline for it. We're going to talk about who did, who didn't, some of the big stories throughout the extension day. Basketball is back tomorrow, so happy basketball day then. We got Christmas Day basketball. We got a Christmas Day NFL game, Vikings Saints. That might be a good game. Who knows? But we will be back tomorrow with a lot more. Thank you guys for doing everything you do. And as always, have a good day, everybody.